If science had a solution for everything, people would already be living on the moon or Mars. Not only that, but we'd also have complete knowledge of our planet's past and every strange phenomenon it holds. A world like that might be incredibly advanced. But let's face it, it would also be a bit boring. After all, who doesn't enjoy a good mystery? This video is full of them, and every single one has left experts totally stumped. So without any further ado, let's get started. Number 15. Wangina Rock Art. While modern Australia was shaped by British colonization, its true story starts long before that, with the indigenous cultures that painted this rock art across the Kimberley region. These detailed images stretch back over 4,000 years and hold deep spiritual meaning for Aboriginal communities. The Wangina, also called Galingi, are cloud and rain spirits in Aboriginal mythology. They're tied to the rainbow serpent Wungur, who is believed by some tribes to be the life giver of the entire world. These figures weren't painted randomly. Around the time they appeared, the region was emerging from a drought that had lasted nearly 1,000 years. As the rains returned, bringing months of monsoon weather, early Aboriginal people responded by painting the spirits they believed were responsible. The connection between environment and myth was so powerful that many of these figures are still repainted today by the descendants of those same tribes. The act isn't just symbolic, it's sacred. These spirits didn't just represent the weather. To their people, they were the reason anything grew or survived at all. Number 14. The Chertovi Helvi. In the hills near Zhelizy in the Czech Republic, two strange, massive stone faces loom from the rock, watching the forest with blank, unsettling expressions. Locals call them the Chertovi Helvi, which in English means the devil's heads, though they don't have horns or any clear connection to the traditional image of the devil. Still, something about their shape feels sinister. These weren't ancient relics, though. They were carved in the mid-1800s by a local artist named Vaclav Levy, who also created artificial caves and other stonework in the same area. The devil's heads are the largest pieces he ever completed, each one towering over 30 feet tall. He never left an explanation for their purpose or meaning. Levy occasionally drew inspiration from Czech folklore, but there's no specific myth tied to these figures. Time and erosion have only made them stranger, twisting their once clear features into grotesque versions of themselves. Today, they're equal parts curiosity and nightmare. No one knows exactly why they were made. Number 13. Petroella Treasure. The Petroella Treasure came to light in the 19th century inside a centuries-old tomb in Bazo County, Romania. These gleaming gold objects date to the 4th century, set firmly in the Gothic period of the region's history. With minimal surviving records from that era, this treasure isn't just valuable for its craftsmanship, it's vital to understanding a forgotten culture. Among the pieces, one standout is a gold ring etched with characters from the Elder Futhark runic alphabet. Despite decades of effort, the symbols remain untranslated, defying linguistic experts. Other items bear scenes of figures in Greek-style robes, seated on thrones surrounded by female attendants. They may portray Gothic rulers, or perhaps the gods these people once worshipped. No one truly knows who owned the treasure, but the leading theory points to Anarak, a prominent Gothic leader of the Turvani tribe. As for its value, placing a definitive number is impossible, but estimates confidently push it into the multi-million-dollar range. Number 12. Trapan Skulls. Archaeologists have long been puzzled by a recurring pattern among ancient skulls. Unearthed in Peru, dozens have large, precise holes drilled directly into the bone. These weren't the result of post-mortem damage. In many cases, the edges of the holes show signs of healing, meaning the individuals survived the procedure and lived on for years. These skulls mostly belong to the Inca period, and they come from both male and female skeletons. Some even show evidence of multiple surgeries, one with as many as 7 separate holes. It's believed these early surgeons used the technique to relieve pressure from head injuries. Their medical knowledge was limited, but they may have understood that brain trauma could be deadly without some kind of release. Cutting into the skull may have been their way of treating it. Still, the idea that someone endured this procedure not once but several times is hard to grasp. Whatever the reasoning behind it, the process became widespread, and it's one of the more disturbing markers of ancient medical practice. Number 11. Hellfire Club Tomb. Ireland is steeped in folklore, but few places carry as many ghost stories as the Hellfire Club near Dublin. Built in 1725, the building was partially destroyed by fire within a few decades, and ever since, locals have claimed the land is cursed. In 2016, archaeologists uncovered something beneath the ruins that might explain why what was once believed to be a natural mound turned out to be a 5,000-year-old passage tomb. Stones from the burial chamber had been removed centuries earlier and repurposed to build the Hellfire Club itself. Earlier excavations in the 1970s didn't reveal the tomb, but did uncover the remains of a 250-year-old skeleton holding a small statue that resembled the devil. The burial site beneath the club seems to have been disturbed in more ways than one. Whether the legends about demonic gatherings are true or not, it's clear that this site has a longer and darker past than anyone expected. Since the fire, the building has remained untouched. No one's tried to rebuild on that hill ever again. Number 10. Thracian Tomb of Seshari. Much of modern-day Bulgaria once formed the heartland of the Thracians, an ancient civilization that flourished about 2,400 years ago. They were known for their military skill and their love for gold, two traits that often overlapped in the tombs left behind. One of the most striking of these burial sites lies near the village of Seshari. When it was first opened, it was filled with intricately crafted gold artifacts, though scholars still debate the identity of the man buried there. Some think he was a warrior, others believe he ruled as king. It's possible he was both. Among the most impressive finds was a gold tiara engraved with lion figures, alongside detailed bracelets, rings, and miniature animal sculptures. The craftsmanship is unmistakably elite. The Thracians vanished from history around the 7th century, likely absorbed into the wave of Slavic migration. Their language disappeared, their identity blurred, but their tombs remain. This one, in particular, offers a glimpse of the wealth and power once wielded by a now-forgotten people. Number 9. Aljasasia Petroglyphs. For years, archaeological interests skipped over Qatar, but that changed once sites like the Aljasasia Petroglyphs finally gained recognition. Carved into a former quarry, these markings stretch across a rocky stretch of desert and include more than 1,000 individual carvings, some abstract, others surprisingly detailed. Archaeologists believe the earliest carvings were made over 2,000 years ago, though many were likely added by later generations. The earliest examples are simple cup-like hollows and circular rings, but the more expressive ones depict ostriches, fish, scorpions, and even human figures. The true purpose of the engravings isn't fully understood. Some researchers have suggested the larger holes may have worked as containers, possibly for pearls or trading tools, while others believe the patterns could be linked to stargazing. Another theory is that the circular formations represent a kind of board game played on the open rock. Until more context is uncovered, the site remains an unanswered question. Number 8. Naraganset Runestone. The Naraganset Runestone, aka Quidnaset Rock, is a 2.5-ton slab with mysterious runic carvings found in Rhode Island's Naraganset Bay in 1984. The stone was discovered by a shell fisherman, but no one in the Rhode Island Historical Preservation or Heritage Commission had any prior record of it. That raised questions. How could something so large and significant remain unnoticed until the late 20th century? Some residents claim they had seen it as early as the 1960s, though those stories can't be verified. In 2014, a man named Everett Brown stepped forward, claiming that he and his brother carved the runes themselves in the 60s and then forgot about it until the stone reappeared in the news. Well, whether that confession is true remains up for debate. If the inscriptions are authentic, the stone could point to Norse activity in North America long before Columbus. If they're fake, then someone pulled off a surprisingly convincing hoax. Either way, the rock's history is tangled, and the questions surrounding it haven't gone away. Number 7. Shua Dongo Engraved Stone. Back in the 1980s, excavations at the Shua Dongo Paleolithic site in northern China turned up a puzzling object, a carved stone estimated to be around 30,000 years old. It remains the earliest known engraved non-organic artifact found in China. Scientists ruled out weathering, trampling, or other natural causes for the markings, confirming that they were carved by human hands. The incisions are clean, linear, and etched within seconds of each other, suggesting a focused purpose. The exact meaning, however, remains lost. The simplest explanation is that the engravings were a form of tallying or counting, perhaps a primitive attempt at record keeping. If that's the case, it implies that early humans in the region had already developed a system for structured communication or calculation, and if they could count, it isn't a stretch to believe they had even more advanced cognitive abilities. Yet without a key to decode these marks, we're left with speculation and a single ancient stone that whispers knowledge from a world we can't fully understand. Number 6. Vad Stenabra. If you happen to come across the Vad Stenabra, report it immediately. It's been missing since 1938. This small gold medallion was originally discovered in 1774 in Sweden, alongside a gold ring and a gold sheet. The ring and sheet were quickly melted down by a local goldsmith, and the bracteate nearly suffered the same fate until a clergyman stepped in and bought it. It was later stored at the Swedish Museum of National Antiquities, from where it mysteriously vanished. Prior to its disappearance, researchers believe the medallion was crafted in the early 6th century. Its runic inscriptions circling the medallion's edge have never been translated despite years of attempts. Another bracteate, dubbed the Motala bracteate, was found in Östra in 1906 and appears to have been stamped using the same die. While it's useful for comparison, it doesn't replace the original. Without the lost Vad Stena piece, there's a gap in the historical record. No amount of replicas or research can fully make up for what was taken. Number 5. Vardzia Cave City. This is just out of this world, carved into a cliffside in southern Georgia. The Vardzia Cave complex is part monastery, part fortress, and entirely unique. The origins of the site are debated, but most scholars agree it was built during the reign of Queen Tamar in the late 12th century. Georgia was under constant threat from Mongol invasions at the time, and Vardzia was likely constructed as both a sanctuary and a stronghold. The scale of the site is staggering. 13 levels, over 6,000 rooms, a royal audience chamber, and a vast church with its own bell tower. The only way in was through a hidden tunnel that ran from the river below. For a time, the cave city kept its residents safe from attack, but in 1283, a powerful earthquake struck the region, collapsing most of the outer structure and exposing the interior to the outside world. The damage marked the beginning of the site's decline. Today, Vardzia stands as both a relic of medieval architecture and a monument to a kingdom that once defied the odds. Number 4. Etruscan Tomb of Silver Hands. Among the ancient cultures that once thrived in mainland Italy, the Etruscans remain deeply enigmatic. Their main territory was centered north of modern-day Rome, around the area of Volsci. Several years ago, archaeologists excavated a 2700-year-old tomb there and discovered something bizarre, a pair of sculpted silver hands. These were crafted from an ultra-thin copper-silver alloy with delicate gold leaf detailing on the fingernails. They weren't wearable and they're too fragile for any practical use, which points to ceremonial meaning, possibly tied to the woman buried in the tomb. Alongside the hands were painted beads, an iron brooch, black pottery, and most oddly, an Egyptian scarab bearing the image of the falcon-headed deity Horus. The tomb layout itself is unique, with 3 chambers linked by a sky-lit corridor, unlike any other Etruscan burial site in the area. Some researchers propose that the hands once belonged to a wooden ritual figure known as a civraton, but no trace of such a figure was found. Number 3. The Sword of Joyuse. Not every ancient relic is accepted purely on faith, but the Sword of Joyuse still divides opinion. Housed in the Louvre, this weapon is believed by many to have belonged to Charlemagne the Great, ruler of the Franks over 1,000 years ago. Both the man and his blade were so admired that stories claimed the sword could blind enemies with its shine and render its wielder immune to poison. That reverence lives on in the name of the town of Joyuse, said to mark the spot where the sword was recovered after a historic battle. Though its trail vanishes for centuries, records confirm that the same sword was used in the 1270 coronation of King Philip III. Whether it truly dates back to Charlemagne's hand remains unproven, but its ceremonial importance is unquestioned. Some see a sacred relic, others see a myth with a blade. But even skeptics admit whatever its origin, it's a symbol of medieval power that's endured for generations. Number 2. The skull fragment of the Buddha. When a gold casket was found beneath an ancient shrine below a Buddhist temple in Nanjing, China, back in 2016, researchers already knew it was something significant. But when they opened the artifact, they discovered something that may surpass gold in importance, a skull fragment believed to belong to Siddhartha Gautama, the historical Buddha. These relic boxes, called stupas, are often used in Buddhist rituals, and this particular one is over 1,000 years old. While that doesn't place it during Buddha's lifetime, it's plausible the bone was added centuries later. The inscription inside the lid states the casket was made during Emperor Zhenzong's rule and directly claims the fragment belongs to the Buddha. Alongside it is a tale describing how his relics were split into 84,000 parts, with 19 reportedly sent to China. Though no one can confirm the story's truth, Buddhist monks deemed it convincing enough to place the stupa and its contents in permanent safekeeping at the Kixia temple. What do you think of it? Is it real? Number 1. Ciudad Perdida. South America is full of ancient ruins, but some cities remain hidden in the shadows of their more famous neighbors. Ciudad Perdida, Spanish for Lost City, is one of them. Located deep in Colombia's Sierra Nevada mountains near Santa Marta, it's only reachable by climbing over 1,200 stone steps carved into the mountainside. The hike is brutal, not just because of the altitude, but because the jungle has completely overtaken the site. Archaeologists believe the city was built around the 9th century and was already long abandoned by the time modern researchers stumbled across it in the 1970s. Evidence suggests up to 8,000 people may have lived there during its peak, making it one of the largest pre-Columbian cities in the region. It's widely believed the city belonged to the Tairona civilization, although little is known with certainty. Its structures are still partially covered by forest, and many questions about its origin and abandonment remain. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more amazing content like this. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.